Hey everybody, what's going on? This is James from Christian Reality Check here on Facebook and on YouTube, so make sure you find that on YouTube in my Facebook page, Christian Reality Check. I have a link in there so that you can go and click it on YouTube so that you'll have videos that disappear from here because, as I've said before, Facebook deletes all live feed after 30 days. And so if there's something that you want to see, the videos are going to be on YouTube. So today we're going to talk about something that I think that we need to be very much aware of. We need to look at end time events that are going on all around us, and it seems people aren't really all that worried about the end times. Of course, the Bible said that in the end times people would mock the idea that Christ is coming back. And when the mockery can come in a couple different styles, but one of them is like blowing it off in their hearts like, whatever, that's not going to happen. That's just, them talking. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some things that's going on right now in the world, in the last handful of months and coming months, believe it or not. And then we're going to take a look at some scripture, and we're going to put these things together. We're going to talk just a little bit. So first of all, I want to turn to Luke chapter 21. And I think we're going to start in verse 7. We'll read that. Luke is a really big book. Comes after Mark, which is a really small book of the gospel. The smallest book in the gospels. I believe there's only 16 chapters in Mark. But Luke, we will take a look. I think there's like 28 or 29 chapters in Luke. So you might get lost. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start. And this is the disciples asking Jesus these questions. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be, and what signs will there be when these things shall come to pass? Now, by the way, I want to let you guys know, I'm reading out of a King James. I'll try to make it easy if I have to. And he said, Take heed that you be not deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. And the time draweth near. Go ye there and... wait, hold on a minute. I think that has a word missing. That's not good. Saying, I am the Christ, and the time draweth near. Okay, alright, so these are people preaching the gospel, literally claiming that Christ is the Christ. They're claiming that he's saying the right things. And then it says, go ye not therefore after them. It's like, don't go chasing after them just because they say that. Remember, you don't have to follow them, because their actions are going to prove whether or not they are of God. These are false teachers, false prophets, and there's been a lot of those over the last handful of years. Seen some preachers prophesying over Trump being president, and they were made a spectacle of. Just because you have an inner voice that speaks to you, that does not mean that God is literally talking to you. Your inside voice, yourself can talk to yourself. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but yeah. But when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not afraid, don't be terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not. Then he said unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and a great earthquake shall be great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall be there from heaven. Okay, so So we're going to be witnessing all different kinds of things here on earth and in heaven. The heaven that they're talking about, we're not talking about like where God is at. We're talking about the heaven that we can see, like in the sky, in the solar system, like comets, meteors, and stuff like that. Because if you guys remember, in the book of Genesis, God told them that I have created the heavens for you to know the times and the seasons. In chapter 1 and chapter 2 of Genesis, it talks about that. He laid out all of that stuff as a clock, and everything that happens in the solar system, it all works together to bring about a time frame for the end of our age. So that clock is winding down. It's like a stop clock. But before all these, they shall lay their hands upon you and persecute you, delivering you up to synagogues and into prisons, and being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. Now, this is going to be a worldwide thing. It's not just one spot. But, however, he is really talking to Israel first, because they're the ones who are testifying of Christ. So, they're going to literally be persecuted in Israel first, because Israel's hated even more than Christians, believe it or not. Now, when it's talking about being brought into kings and priests and all them people that will have the authority to kill you and execute, this is going on. This has been going on for some time, but not so much more as it is right now. And certain aspects of killing Christians and Jews worldwide, I think, maybe over in China, and the secret Christians that are there, and even some in the Middle East. But now we got it in America. Now, we were having these things in America where they were going into churches, shooting Christians on random. There was a handful of years there where this was happening a couple times a year. Even burning down churches. So, I mean, it's a persecution. This is what they're talking about. You're going to be persecuted for the name's-sake of Jesus. Because you carry the name of Christ, you're going to be hated because of Christ. And we just had an event within the last week or so where Charlie Kirk was assassinated publicly for speaking about his faith, and the reason why he was killed was because the person or persons that could have been behind it, I don't know. The full investigation hasn't been done yet. But they didn't like and didn't agree with his belief system of reading out of the Bible and what do they call that? Oh, shoot, guys. What is that thing? Debating. I don't know why. They didn't like it. So, he was assassinated for that in America. And then, they're going, once they arrest you, put you in prison and stuff like that, or even before that, they may not even have you arrested. They might just kill you on the spot. But there's a possibility that you could be used, and they could order a testimony of why you actually believe what you believe, of why you're willing to die for the cross. And it says, settle therefore in your hearts not to meditate before what shall be your answer. No, don't worry about what you're going to say, because God's going to give you all the words that you need. Now, we're just taking a look here. I'll make sure I got my correctness here. But therefore shall no hair on your head be harmed. In your patience keep your souls comforted. You know what? This is a little bit aggravating to me, believe it or not. The words are really small. I thought I was going to do all right, guys. Forgive me. Words are small, so I'm going to read out of a New King James, which is all right. It doesn't. There are a few words changed in the New King James, but that's all right. Okay. Bear with. There we go. By your patience possess your souls. And verse 20. But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation is near. The destruction. Desolation. It's going to be laid waste. They're just going to go in there, going to lay it out flat. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let those who are in the midst of her depart, and let not those who are in the country enter her. For these are the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And now then we're talking about some major stuff coming here. But woe unto those who are pregnant, women, make sure that you understand that, and nursing babies in those days, and woe unto them, for will be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people, and they will fall by the edge of the sword. In other words, there's going to be a giant war here in Israel, because when Israel's surrounded, it's going to be surrounded by the armies of the Muslim communities, the Palestinians. Most of them are all Muslim. And I'm going to point some things out. I think you're going to find this interesting. And then they'll be led captive into all nations. Now, this has already happened. Some of this is actually a prophecy of AD 70, where Israel was overtaken by the Roman Empire, which was made up of Palestinians. Okay, the history books will tell you that the biggest number of Roman soldiers in Judea during the time of Christ were Palestinians, because even though Rome was a force to be reckoned with, they didn't have enough people in Rome to cover a territory. So what they would do, they go into these places, they take it over, and as a way to spare their lives, they offered them a job. Come work for Rome, come work for Caesar, help us dominate the world, and you will be able to inherit some of the spoils from the conquest. And so they made a deal with the Arab nations in that area, and literally it was the Palestinians that were Roman soldiers. It's really crazy. A little history. So we know that the time is coming. Now I want to go in here. We're going to come back to the Bible here in just a little bit, but I want to show you a few things that are going on right now that I think you're going to really find interesting. So right now we have had quite a few events going on, such as the G7 summit, the BRICS meeting, which are meetings that people should focus on. They should pay attention to this, because the G7 is a group of men or women that are top billionaires of the world. And the BRICS are made up of countries as well that literally come together to talk about world peace, world domination, wars, and all kinds of stuff, and even currency. So this is really important to be focused on. We need to be paying attention to these groups. When groups are gathering together, they're taking the top people from their countries and they're putting them in a room to discuss the fate of the world. We really need to focus on that. The United Nations do it. The EU does it. BRICS does it. So we need to be paying attention. Now, we've had a handful of things going on lately. Last month we had a lunar eclipse, which is a big deal. We had an eclipse, which was a partial, that most people got to see worldwide. I took some photos of it earlier this year. We've had really awesomeness with it. And it was really, really pretty. But blood red moons come from this particular eclipse, the partial, where it goes in front of and then it comes out the other side. But it turns the moon blood red, or the color of dark red, or blood stained. Now, it happened in Israel. We just had another one after the one we had. Israel just had one this past month where they literally watched it go over. Now, that's significant that Israel got to watch this because it was prophesied for Israel to be paying attention to the events over Israel, because Israel is the center focus point of God's end-time clock. That's who we should be focused on. We get to be partakers of this worldwide sometimes, but mainly the things that are happening inside of Israel is what we need to focus on. But then we had the full lunar eclipse where it lined up with the sun, right? A full lunar. So it got dark. And I was outside looking for that. During that time, we were supposed to be able to see an alignment of the planets. I think there was 5 or 6 planets that we were supposed to be able to see. And they were over in the east, northeast. And they came up at an angle, kind of like that. It wasn't all straight. They were just kind of separated, but they were there. So we had this event. Now, we already know that there's going to be signs and wonders in the heavens. We just read that. Things were going to happen in the heavens. So that is very significant. But here's what's getting ready to happen, guys. We're getting ready to have 2 comets. 2 comets that are going to be visible by the naked eye come in October. Alright, so we have the first comet is called the Swan Comet. And it's going to be visible between October 2nd and October 20th, with the possibility that it could be even brighter around the 12th. 11th, 12th, or 13th, just depending on where you're located, and the visibility if there's no clouds where you're at. The other one was classified as Comet Lemon, which is renamed C-2025A6, and it should be available right after Comet Swan on October 21st, and it'll be visible probably for a couple days, just depending. So these are really significant signs. This hasn't happened in a really long time. You should Google that, find out when the last time there's been 2 back-to-back comets that close like that. Now, something else that we need to take some consideration over is the fact that Israel is going through their Feast of Trumpets right now. The Feast of Trumpets is a very significant event which should be paid attention to, because between October, because September into October, from October to November is generally the time of when Christ was actually born. But the conception of Christ happened before that. Yep. A year prior to that. About 9 months prior to that. So you want to kind of pay attention to that one too. The Feast of Trumpets, with the G7 summit and the BRICS meeting and the lunar eclipses, all of these things happening simultaneously all at once. And we've even got volcanoes erupting worldwide. Now this is just something else. It's a lot of stuff happening all one time. Now, this is going to pick up in intensity as time goes on. And what is going to happen for these earthquakes to happen is these volcanoes, everything's working underground, but these volcanoes are erupting all over the place because the plates, earth plates, are shifting, and they're cracking and they're opening up, and it's allowing the magma to come up out of the earth from the core. All that pressure is coming out. But if they shift too much, it will actually rip apart on fault lines, and they will literally destroy the world. Houses and buildings and businesses will be destroyed, shaken to the core. There's even one earthquake that's mentioned in the book of Revelation where Jesus puts his foot down on the Mount of Olives and the earth splits. Basically, Jerusalem will be split into 3 parts. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. Going on into the next part, this is where we're going to get into some really heavy stuff, guys. I want you to really hunker down and pay attention to this, because this, if it's right, 100% working towards the end, this should be really scary for some people, because we should really be focusing on this. Check this out. So there has been some debate on the Jewish calendar or whether or not if it's even accurate. At this moment, the Jews are looking at a calendar that they're using, and it says that it is currently at year 5785, which they think may actually be off by 165 years. If that is the case, add that to it, give or take some years, and you will literally land at 5,950 years, 50 years shy of 6,000 years on Earth. Now, for some of you guys out there that literally believe that the Earth is millions of years old, it's not. It looks it because of erosion and water retention and pulling away during the flood. It washed away all of the loose stuff as it went down like this, and the water kept doing this as it kept pulling away. And so we get these lines on these mountainsides and rocks, and it's pulling everything off of there, and all the soft spots are just getting washed away. And they're like, well, it couldn't have happened like that because, but it did. Science proves that the Earth really isn't. And the carbon dating isn't even accurate. It's actually off by a lot. Carbon dating is not. And they didn't change the truth about carbon dating because they don't want nobody to know. They know that whatever you believe, and because they're trying to line up with evolution. And that's not how that works. Alright. We're not going to get into that. So, if that's the case, then really we have 50 years or less before the return of Christ. Because during the 6,000 to 7,000 period, 6 days you shall work. Once we hit 6,000, there will be another 1,000. That'll reach out to be 7,000 years altogether. We believe as Christians, and even the Jews, believe that during the 6,000 to the 7,000, Christ will be on earth reigning as king in Israel. So the next thing that we need to look at is the fact that they just had a big meeting recently. The G7 summit literally just added people to the board that believe that there should be a Palestinian state in Israel. And my understanding of Palestinian state is that it would be controlled and governed by Palestine. Israel, the entirety of it, would be controlled Now they want to have a division where part of it is Palestine, part of it is the Jews, but they really want the whole thing to be all Palestine. And the question that they actually have is, if they come up with a treaty, which would include a Palestinian state, that'd be the only way that there would come about some kind of peace. Like, the question is who's going to rule the Palestinian state? There has to be a leader. There has to be somebody governing the state of Palestine. So, we have right now in line of people that believe that the Palestinian state is a good deal. We have the UK, which is Britain, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Portugal, Germany, Italy, and France. They all agree that a Palestinian state should be erected. Now, listen very carefully. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. A Palestinian state would mean that Israel would have to lay down their arms. Now, I read online, and please guys forgive me that I could not find it again. But if you follow me on End Times, watch the videos I put on there, because it was in one of the videos. But it was said that Israel cannot have domain over the Gaza Strip and other parts of Palestine due to a treaty that was signed years ago or something like that. And that if need be, foreign entities could come in and take control of Israel until Israel lays down its weapons. This could be a huge war. Israel fighting against everybody. Now, this could literally force a Palestinian state to be erected. If Israel is too weak towards the end, then yeah, they could erect a Palestinian state and put a man in charge, and he would be the Antichrist. Because the Palestinians, they are a Muslim community, and it's made up of Africa, the Middle East, Turkey, parts of Europe, and there's a handful of these out there. But he would govern all of it. This guy would be put into position to rule over the Palestinian state. But he's going to make a peace treaty with Israel. He's going to be like, look, we're not going to pick up our guns. We're not going to pick up knives and weapons. You guys can live in peace. We can all just stay here, live in peace, buy, sell, trade with each other. We can do it all. This is how he's going to do it. Then there's going to be another guy. We're going to read that here in a minute. There's going to be another guy, and he's going to testify to back up this guy because it sounds good. All in the name of peace and prosperity. That's the false prophet. Just saying, guys. Let's go to the book of Revelation real quick. Let's go to chapter 13. I could probably read it out of this one. It would probably be easier for you guys. Some of you guys may not be able to understand the King James itself. Is that it? That's, yeah. One chapter back. A chapter back. There we go. I'll just read it for you guys. Now I stood, this is Paul talking, okay, this is Paul talking. He's in a dream. God is showing him a vision of things that are about to happen in the future, which would be in our time. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now, this is going to be real tricky. I will explain this whole thing right here. Alright, so what he saw was a man coming up out of the people of the world. He's going to just be a random person that they already know, and most likely he's going to be out of the Middle East. I believe he's going to be Middle Eastern, and he's going to come up out of the earth. He's going to be chosen to do this rulership, and the 7 heads are 7 countries. 7 countries, and right now we have a handful right now that believe in a Palestinian state. And 10 crowns were given to each of them. What that means is the Antichrist, the ruler of the Palestinian state, will literally give power to the countries of Palestine, and they will rule with the Antichrist for 3.5 years. You would have thought that it would have been the whole 7. Well, let's see. And the blasphemous name that was on there it's a name that's going to blaspheme God and his position and his deity. It really is. Now, a lot of people used to think that it was the Pope, because he wears a sash that says that he is the vicar of Christ. There's a... I don't remember the whole name of what that is, but it means that he is God incarnate through the Pope. Like the Pope himself is God with us. And that's blasphemous. God is not the Pope. No. Now, the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet was like the feet of a bear, and his mouth was like the mouth of a lion. Now, I'm going to talk about that lion here in a minute, and you're going to be really interested in this. And the dragon... Oh, yeah. And the dragon gave him his power, his tongue, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all of the world marveled and followed the beast. So they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" Now, we're talking about 2 people here. We're talking about the false prophet, and we're talking about the Antichrist itself. Also, the beast is also known as the end-time world system, the government that's going to rule over. And we have that right now. We got everything in order for this to work out. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. And I don't want to ruin it yet. And he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And he was given authority to continue for 42 months. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. It was granted to him to make war with the saints. Does this sound like the saints are raptured yet? No, not yet. But he's still in rulership. This is why a lot of people believe that the tribulation period is already in existence 3.5 years before the rapture. This is what we call mid-trib rapture theory. So, and the authority was given to him to cover over every tribe, tongue, and nation, and who dwell on the earth to worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the slain from the foundation of the world. So in other words, he's only going to have power over those who and persuasion over those who aren't God's. I mean, and this is going to be really interesting. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. And here is patience and faith of the saints. Now this whole thing goes in, but it literally goes in and says, look, he's going to cause all great and small after 3.5 years. He's going to turn against the saints. He's going to turn against Israel. He's going to break that peace treaty, and he's going to cause everyone, great and small, to receive a mark on the right hand or on the forehead, somewhere on the forehead, most likely right here, because this is where people say the third eye is, and I don't know much about that. I've studied a little bit. I've experienced some things myself, but cannot confirm. But it could be right here. So all they have to do is scan. It's all about scanning. You scan there, you scan there. They have door scanners, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be just that simple. And why I bring this point up is because of something very scary that's about to happen. Britain, who knows about Britain? England's flag literally has a lion. Yes, a lion. And BRICS has just announced over the past week or so, or the last handful of months, that they want to bring about an IDF chip in the hand. They call it the BRICS Digital ID card. Now, it's not really a card, but it acts as a card. And what's going to be on it? And you can go to News TV and look this up. There's a whole segment on it. There's other news segments where they literally discuss it. It's going to have all your personal information on it. It's going to have your regular ID, your date of birth, so you don't have to carry a birth certificate no more. It's going to have your social security number. It's going to have your bank account. It's going to have your arrest record, your prison or jail ID. It's going to have your work information on it. It's going to have your medical information on it, and it's going to have everything about you on it. And they're saying that they want to bring it into existence in England, in the UK, so that people coming in on boats can't come into the country illegally, so that they can just scan you. If you ain't got it, you're in prison, you're getting shipped back to where you came from. They say it's going to make it so much easier. Now, this is what's scary. They got enough right now to chip everyone in England. Everyone in England. They got enough. If they have enough for England, they have enough for the world. They really do. Because you think that they're just going to do one. Because check this out. If you want to go to England or to the UK somewhere, you got to have a chip. That means it's got to be implemented, instituted in other countries for everyone to do this. Pay attention. We are here. This is it. We are taking steps. We're not tiptoeing. We're not wasting our time walking. We are rushing into the future. This is it. So we have these chips. The UK wants to make it mandatory. And they're saying all we have to do is have some kind of catastrophe like COVID-19 happen again, or something big, or World War III. The United States is having a big problem with people coming into our country. We're having these trade wars. Donald Trump just signed into a bill where people could, if you own a business, you could pay $1 million, up to $5 million, to allow so many people to come over for so many months to stay on a visa. So we want to pay attention to this, guys. We are right here. So literally coming down to it, if the Palestinian state happens and a world war breaks out, and that would be the world war in Israel, where the people come together to make war. Because look, they're saying that Israel is literally violating war agreements, and they're saying that they're committing genocide, and the possibility is that the UK and other countries could come in and stop Israel from doing what they're doing. If they do that, that could literally erect the Palestinian state, which could literally cause a push in the direction for this chip to be put everywhere. And if you read in the book of Revelation, it does talk there in 13 about another person coming up out of the earth that looks like a ram, a sheep, but with horns, two horns, one here, one there, right? Now, a lot of people associate that to be the sign of the devil. However, it's a sign of America. America plays a role. America is a mouthpiece worldwide. If America agrees with something, it will speak about it. It will support and testify worldwide. The influence America has can literally cause all people, great and small, to follow a certain direction. And we have a man right now in the office. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I think he's a good guy. I think he's just... He might have a few screws loose. I don't know. But he is a Christian man. I do believe that, and I believe he's doing right. However, I believe he might be ignorant in the roles that he plays. But the president literally has the ability to tell other people certain things. And if you remember earlier this year, he went around talking to the Middle East people about joining together in a treaty under the scope of peace and security and prosperity. Yep, that's it. So we are right here, guys. This should be an eye opener. We are right here. And if you think that it's going to get better, it's not. We'll have these burst of revivals. We'll have that too, but revivals, because of things like Charlie Kirk or those churches getting burned down, or there's going to be all kinds of things. But that doesn't mean that everybody that sees and witnesses is going to be saved. So I think it's time that we open up our eyes and we take a look around and we realize that everything is laid up. Possible 50 years to go, according to arithmetics. I'm not a date setter. I won't tell you when he's going to be here. I don't know. But Jesus did say that you can tell from the signs of the times where you're at on the scope of things. He literally did say that. You can tell by looking. If you pay attention, you can tell where you're at, how close you are. And I'm telling you, we're close. Everything's here. We got everything we possibly need. And if that calendar is off by 165 years, that means 50 years left before 6,000 years. So, guys, let us pay attention. Let us focus. Let us get our mindset. And let us look to the Lord for salvation before it's too late, because we're not promised another day. Guys, this is James from Christian Reality Check and End Time News. Just want to let you guys know I love you, and I really do want the best for you guys.